Vishnu Pada Paramahansa Paribraja Kacharya Stottara Satashi Srimad Bhagavatam Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayom Vishnu Pada Paramahansa Paribraja Kacharya Stottara Satashi Srimad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shyamakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Mathura Dham Ki Jai. Mayapur Navadip Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. All of your Dhammas Ki Jai. Samvita Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bo. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauraga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and to all your beloved gurus. What? Okay, excuse me, ladies, just a second. Haribol Vaishnav Shruti. You're muted, so I can't hear your cute voice.
Hare Krishna Mata Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Okay, so I should have told you ahead of time, but tonight we're going to do reading from the 5th canto. Just let me find it. Woo! 129, where is it? Oh, okay. It's Canto 5, Chapter 1, Text 29. So please, anyone who has a set of Bhagavatams, or if you have it on your phone on database or whatever that other one is called, you can look it up. It's Srimad Bhagvatam, Canto 5, Chapter 1, Text 29. Please turn to this page if you have it. Okay, the Sanskrit is really long and it's not in rhyming lines. It's just like prose. So I'll just go through it kind of slowly and carefully. Evam upashamayaneshu swatanayeshu atha jagati patir jagatim arbudani ekadasha parivatsaranam avyahatakila purusha karasara sambrita dor danda yugala pidita marvi gunastanita viramita dharma pratipaksho barhishmatyas chanudinam edamana pramoda prasarana yoshinya vrida pramushita hasavaloka ruchira shweli adibihi Prabhuyamana Viveka. Hey, Ramani, there's your husband's name. Right in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Means true knowledge. Viveka. Ivana Vabhudyamana Iva Mahamana Bubuje. Okay. Bubuje means ruled. Bubuje. Okay, so let's go through the word for word synonyms. Evam means thus. Upashana ayaneshu, all well qualified. Swatana Yeshu, his own sons. Atha, thereafter. Jagati Patihi, the master of the universe. Jagatim, the universe. Arbudani, Arbudas. One Arbuda equals 100 million. Ekadasha, 11. Parivatsaranam, of years. Avyahata, without being interrupted. Akhila, universal. Purushakara, prowess. Sara, strength. Sambrita, endowed with. Doho dandaha, of powerful arms. Yugala, by the pair. Apidita, being drawn. Maurvi guna, of the bowstring. Sanita, by the loud sound. Viramita, defeated. Dharma, religious principles. Pratipaksha, those who are against. Arhishmatyaha, of his wife Arhishmati. Cha, and. Anudinam, daily. Edhamana, increasing. Kamoda, pleasing intercourse. Prasarana, amiability. Doshinya, feminine behavior. Vrida, a shyness. Kamushita, held back. Hasa, laughing. Avaloka, glancing. Ruchira, pleasing. Gandharvi Gopika, are you with us? Ruchira, that's her baby's name. Ruchira Radhika. Ruchira means pleasing. Shveli Adi Bhi, by exchanges of loving propensities. Hara Bhuyamana, being defeated. Vivekaha, his true knowledge. Iva, like. Anavabhudyamanaha, a less intelligent person. Iva, like. Mahamana, the great soul. Bubhuje, ruled. Translation. After we're completely trained in the Paramahamsa stage of life. Those were sons of Maharaj Priyavrat. Maharaj Priyavrat ruled the universe for 11 arbudas of years. Whenever he was determined to fix his arrow upon his bowstring with his two powerful arms, all opponents of the regulative principles of religious life would flee from his presence in fear of the unparalleled prowess he displayed in ruling the universe. He greatly loved his wife Marhishmati, and with the increase of days, their exchange of nuptial love also increased. By her feminine behavior, as she dressed herself, walked, got up, smiled, laughed, and glanced about, Queen Marhishmati increased his energy. Thus, although he was a great soul, he appeared lost in the feminine conduct of his wife. He behaved with her just like an ordinary man, but actually, he was a great soul. Om Agyanatimirana Asyagi Ananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Rukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Angayate Kirim Yat Kripatam Aham Vande Shri Gurun Dinataranam. Excuse me just a second, ladies. I'm going to close my door. To leave it a little bit open because the hotspot is out there. Okay, purport. In this verse, the word Dharma Pratipaksha, opponents of religious principles, refers not to a particular faith, but to Varnashram Dharma, the division of society, socially and spiritually, into 4 varnas: Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra, and 4 ashrams: Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas. To maintain proper social order and help the citizens gradually progress toward the goal of life, namely spiritual understanding, the principles of Varnashram Dharma must be accepted. From this verse, Haribol Nidhi, nice to see you, dear. From this verse, Maharaj Priyavrat appears to have been so strict in maintaining the institution of Varnashram Dharma that anyone neglecting it would immediately flee from his presence, as soon as the king warned him, by fighting or administering light punishment. Indeed, Maharaj Priyavrat would not have to fight, for simply because of his strong determination, they dared not disobey the rules and regulations of Varnashram Dharma. It is said that unless human society is regulated by Varnashram Dharma, it is no better than a bestial society of cats and dogs. Maharaj Priyavrat, therefore, strictly maintained Varnashram Dharma by his extraordinary, unparalleled prowess. To maintain such a life of strict vigilance, one needs encouragement from his wife. In the Varnashram Dharma system, certain classes, such as the Brahmins and Sannyasis, do not need encouragement from the opposite sex. Kshatriyas and Grihasthas, however, actually need the encouragement of their wives in order to execute their duties. Indeed, a Grihastha or Kshatriya cannot properly execute his responsibilities without the association of his wife. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally admitted that a Grihastha must live with a wife. You remember that? Lord Chaitanya told his mother, as long as I'm living at home, I have to have a wife. Living at home doesn't mean that you live just without a wife. No, you have to have a wife. Kshatriyas were even allowed to have many wives to encourage them in discharging the duties of government. The association of a good wife is necessary in a life of karma and political affairs. To execute his duties properly, therefore, Maharaj Priyavrat took advantage of his good wife, Varhishmati, who was always very expert in pleasing her great husband by properly dressing herself, smiling, and exhibiting her feminine bodily features. Queen Varhishmati always kept Maharaj Priyavrat very encouraged, and thus he executed his governmental duty very properly. In this verse, Iva has twice been used to indicate that Maharaj Priyavrat acted exactly like a henpecked husband and thereby seemed to have lost his sense of human responsibility. Actually, however, he was fully conscious of his position as a spirit soul, although he seemingly behaved like an acquiescent karmi husband. Maharaj Priyavrat thus ruled the universe for 11 arbudas of years. One arbuda consists of 100 million years, and Maharaj Priyavrat ruled the universe for 11 such arbudas. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Please allow us to study this beautiful Srimad Bhagvatam with devotion and open hearts. So the part of the translation that I want to focus on is the part about Varhishmati. After Kavi, Mahavira, and Savana were completely trained in the Paramahansa stage of life, Maharaj Priyavrat ruled the universe for 11 arbudas of years. Whenever he was determined to fix his arrow upon his bowstring with his two powerful arms, all opponents of the regulative principles of religious life would flee from his presence in fear of the unparalleled prowess he displayed in ruling the universe. Okay, now this next part is very instructive for us ladies. He greatly loved his wife Barhishmati, and with the increase of days, their exchange of nuptial love also increased. By her feminine behavior, as she dressed herself, walked, got up, smiled, laughed, and glanced about, Queen Barhishmati increased his energy. Thus, although he was a great soul, he appeared lost in the feminine conduct of his wife. He behaved with her just like an ordinary man, but actually, he was a great soul. Okay, now, I am going to, can you allow me to share my screen, please? Shraddha? Shraddha, are you the one who's being the host tonight?
Yes, Mataji, just did that. You have the permissions now.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so list of virtues, power of inspiration. I was looking at my husband's list of virtues today. How do I make this bigger? There it is. And henpecked is not on his list. Although he is a very kind-hearted person, he's very chivalrous, and he's very much helpful to me. Still, I wouldn't call him henpecked. So when I saw that word in this reading, I thought to ask if any of you have this word on your list. And if you don't, you have to be honest. Or if you do, you have to be honest. Okay, so now we're going to go to a special file that I have for today. It's called The Power of Inspiration. Okay, so we read, can you guys see this? Srimad Bhagvatam, Canto 5, Chapter 1, Text 29, Power of Inspiration at the top. Are you able to see this? Let me put it on here. Yes, here it is. Okay, do you see it?
Mataji, I think you'll have to change the focus. We are still seeing the list of virtues.
Oh, okay. Let me try that again.
Yeah, now we can see it.
Oh, yeah? Okay, good. Okay. All right. Yeah, I want to move this over so I don't have to see it. There we go. Okay, so we just finished reading the translation, and the first thing I wanted to say is that men require inspiration. So if our husbands are less than we had hoped for, or different from what we had expected, or even if they are more than we could have asked for, we must accept them as they are and understand that they are who they are. And because not a blade of grass moves without the sanction of the Lord, they are meant to be as they are for our purification. We should ask ourselves, what am I doing to inspire my husband? How can I improve? If we are inspiring our men, they will behave better than if we are not inspiring them. Let's examine Queen Varhishmati. What did she do to awaken inspiration in her husband's heart? She gave him pramoda, pleasing intercourse. Now in English, intercourse can mean either sexual union or it can mean communication. So apparently Queen Varhishmati was pleasing to her husband in both ways, both by sexual intimacy and by the way she communicated with him. One important way to please one's husband through communication is to compliment him on his masculine qualities and achievements. Look over your list of your husband's masculine virtues. And those of you who are not married and who made a list, you can still look over your list and contemplate those qualities in your future husband. B, pray to be able to appreciate and comment on his masculine virtues. 1, glorify your husband in private. 2, glorify your husband in public, in front of others. Okay, number 2, a man cannot be pleased with a wife who criticizes and belittles him. We can assume that because Queen Varhishmati pleased her husband, she must have avoided criticizing or correcting him. She pleased her husband. 3, she pleased her husband by satisfying him sexually. 1, ask your husband how you can please him. 2, pray to Krishna to accept your service to your husband as your service to him. Excuse me, I read that wrong. Pray to Krishna to accept your service to your husband as your service to him, to Krishna. Remember, our husband knows the rules and regulations. His ability and determination to follow the rules and regulations depends on many factors, and it is between him and his guru and Krishna. It is not our business to correct him or preach to him or to threaten him with ultimatums. Do you all know what ultimatums are? It means like, if you don't do this, then I'm gonna leave, something like that. No, that's not usually proper. Everyone is on a different level spiritually, and some are stronger than others. We should be mindful of this and remember to focus on our husband's strengths, his good qualities, and his achievements. And it's really helpful to have our list of masculine virtues handy so that we can refer to it quickly whenever our mind starts to slip into fault finding or critical attitude. We can pull out our list of masculine virtues of our husband and look over the list, and immediately our heart will feel lighter and we will begin to appreciate him again. Number 3, a wife can prepare herself to satisfy her husband sexually by bathing, preferably with a fragrant soap, wearing fresh clothes that he likes and fragrances that please him, applying makeup if he likes it, and jewelry if he likes it, and freshly combing her hair. Varhishmati was amiable, friendly, prasarana. 5, she was feminine, yaushinya. She accentuated the difference between herself and her husband by displaying her own feminine qualities. In this way, she increased his energy. So let's look back at the translation and also the purport where Queen Barhishmati's feminine qualities are listed. In the translation, it is pointed out that by her feminine behavior, as she dressed herself, walked, got up, smiled, laughed, and glanced about, Queen Barhishmati increased her husband's energy. So the way she dressed herself, we can be sure that she dressed herself in very feminine clothing. She walked in a feminine way, not like this, where you walk like a man. No, she wouldn't have walked like that. She would have flowed smoothly across the floor, gracefully. Smiling in a very feminine, shy way is very attractive. Laughing, when a woman laughs, she should not guffaw. A guffaw means laughing very loudly and sometimes like slapping the knee or clapping the hands together. This kind of laughing is okay with immediate family members, but when a woman is around other people, she should control her laughter so that it's not too loud and boisterous. And the way she glanced about, she increased Priyavrat's energy because the way she glanced about was beautiful and attractive. And we can assume that she had sparkling eyes and her eyebrows. It is said in the Shastra that a woman's eyebrows are very powerful because if she just raises them, she can conquer the heart of a man. So Barhishmati must have used her eyebrows in an effective way to conquer the heart of her husband. And then in the purport, at the bottom of page 49 in my Bhagavatam, Prabhupada says that Barhishmati was always very expert in pleasing her great husband by properly dressing herself, smiling, and exhibiting her feminine bodily features. Now, recently, one of our friends mentioned that she was looking on a marriage website and she saw that one young man had requested a voluptuous wife. So I wanted to comment on that. That's actually very natural because men are inspired visually. So that's why Helen Andelin puts such stress on keeping our weight down and our body healthy and slim, slender, so that we can attract our husband. Otherwise, he may become attracted to someone else, and that can be partially our fault for not keeping ourselves attractive for him. So we need to be careful about that. So we shouldn't hold it against the men that they want a beautiful wife. That's natural, and especially a wife with a beautiful form. We should be understanding that that's the nature of the soul in the male body, is that they're visually inspired. Okay? Okay, so now back to, let me make sure. Yeah, okay, back to the screen here. B, even if a woman is not so good looking, she can still practice being feminine, and in this way, please her husband and increase his energy. So even if we're not, Miss America or Miss India, if we keep our body clean, keep our hair nicely arranged, and wear soft feminine clothing and tasteful jewelry and makeup if our husband likes. Then if we follow the other inspiring feminine practices, then we can inspire our husband and increase his energy. So under B, number 1, wear clothing that accentuates the feminine form. A sari is perfect for accentuating the feminine form. So wear clothing that accentuates the feminine form and motion of the female body, as opposed to clothing that appears masculine, like t-shirts, sweatpants, jeans, tailored shirts, pants, and suits. Those are all very masculine looking types of clothing. So we should choose the more feminine looking clothing. Choose instead soft fabrics, flowing fabrics, feminine prints, and accents like colorful flowers, trims, ribbons, or lace. Remember to accentuate the differences between male and female. A man would never be seen in a lacy nightgown, so a lacy nightgown is a good example of something we can wear to please our husband. A sari is a feminine type of clothing, but even a woman who wears a sari can turn her husband off by coming across as masculine if she carries herself in a masculine way or manifests masculine behaviors or mannerisms. So let's be careful about that. One thing Helen Andelin mentions in Fascinating Womanhood is when we have something to talk about with our husband, we shouldn't sit down, put our elbows on the table and say, hey, can we talk mano to mano, or, can we discuss something very serious? I've got some notes here. I think I've got it figured out. No, she recommends that we sit in a very feminine way and approach our husband in a humble way and make suggestions, but make them in such a way that he has the freedom to make the choice and the decision. So there are masculine ways to act and feminine ways to act. Okay, number 2, learn how to walk in a feminine way. I remember my mother teaching me how to walk in a feminine way. She taught me to hold my body straight and to make my feet go forward, like one next to each other, not like this and not like this. This is called pigeon-toed. And this is really the better way to walk, with your feet pointing forward. And the hips should sway a little bit. And actually, there's a type of posture, we'll talk about that in a minute, that's very feminine, and it's actually healthy for the female body. So learn how to walk in a feminine way. Sway your hips, direct your feet forward, not pointing out or pointing in toward each other. Practice good posture. Here it is. Relax your belly muscles. Raise your chest. Pull your chin back slightly. And the crown of your head, imagine it moving straight upward. Let your crown go up and relax. Chest up, chin back, crown up, and shoulders loose. This is very good posture for a woman. It's not for a man, it's for a woman. And if we can learn how to stand in this way and sit in this way will be healthier. Okay? Now, number D, lay your toes down on the floor or on the ground when you walk. Garuda Purana says that a man should not marry a woman whose toes point upward when she walks. So be careful to keep your toes down. Number E, practice grace. Walk gracefully. Sit gracefully. Gesture gracefully. Lie down gracefully. Speak graciously. One of the things that I've learned from Indian people is how to point in a cultured way. In America, we learn how to point like this. But here in India, people go like this, and it's much more gentle and cultured. So that's an example of gesturing gracefully. And speaking graciously is an art in itself, and we're learning that. We're learning how to speak sweet words. Number C, in this day and age, we are taught to be like men. 1, we are taught to aspire for a career other than wifehood and motherhood. Now, our friend Indira Saki wrote a beautiful little book called How I Achieved Real Success. I highly recommend her book because she covers this topic very nicely and thoroughly, how we're taught to aspire for a career other than wifehood and motherhood. She deals with it very clearly and nicely. So I recommend her book, How I Achieved Real Success by Indira Meshram. Number 2, we are taught that if we aspire for being a good wife and mother, that we are less than women who have a career outside the home. We must unlearn our feminist training and relearn how to be feminine. Number 1, study Srila Prabhupada's books. Number 2, hear our rounds. Number 3, study the lives and mannerisms of feminine women. Especially I'm talking about women from Vedic times, but there are also modern women who are or were feminine, whom we can learn from. Number 4, associate with feminine women. That we're doing here. We're all associating with each other because we need this kind of association where we support and love our husbands and try to encourage them and give them energy. Number 5, pray to become the kind of wife our husband wants and needs. I should put and needs in there. Because Prabhupada said in the purport that he needs a wife. Number 6, practice femininity. Okay, and now the next larger heading that starts with a 6, number 6, Arhishmati was shy. Frida. A feminine woman feels bashful to be naked in front of anyone, but even before her husband. This shyness attracts him. But of course, Srila Prabhupada told us that a woman should never be naked in front of anyone except her husband. So there's a secret meaning in there, in that statement, that actually we should give our husband the pleasure of seeing us in our birthday suit. Okay, B, a chaste woman desires only the association of her husband above all other males. And under B, number 1, she does not desire the association of other males besides her husband. Number 2, she does not want to be touched by any man other than her husband. Number 3, she does not desire to speak with any man other than her husband. Next, number 8, Barhishmati knew how to control her laughter. Kamushita hasa, or maybe it's hasa. Shraddha, you can correct me if it's hasa or hasa.
Hasa, Mataji.
Is it?
Hasa.
Hasa?
Hasa.
Hasa. Okay, thank you.
Hasa.
That's interesting. My husband's nickname was Haas before he became a devotee. The devotees used to call him Bhakta Haas. And then Srila Prabhupada named him Haripad. A, she knew when it was appropriate to smile rather than to laugh out loud. Under A, number 1, laughing softly or smiling with the mouth closed is more appropriate in public than laughing out loud or smiling with the mouth open. Number 2, laughing out loud, but not too loud, and smiling with the mouth open and teeth showing is acceptable among family and close friends, as long as it is approved by the elders of the family and the husband. Number 3, a gentle lady knows how to emit a soft feminine laugh rather than a guffaw, which means roaring like a drunken sailor. Nine, Barhishmati knew the art of aloka, glancing. A, Srimati Radharani knows how to glance at Krishna in a way that attracts him. Queen Barhishmati also knew this art. And we hear so often about sidelong glances. There's a beautiful prayer written by Shani Dev to Lord Nrsingadev, and he's asking him to please bestow upon him his sidelong glance. So when the Lord or his energy looks at us from the side of their eye, we consider it a great blessing. So if we glance at our husband in a way that attracts him, then that will give him energy. B, the art of glancing, of aloka, can be a catalyst for different emotions. Anger, number 1, anger. When we glance quickly at our husband and then we immediately glance away from our husband because we are too angry to look at him without malice, that means without hatred and desire to harm him or something, and with a desire to benefit him. So if we look at him and then look away, then that can be very cute, very attractive. The art of a lusty type of glancing. When we glance at our husband in a way to communicate our lusty desires for him or to incite his sexual desire, that is attractive to our husband. Number 3, disbelief. When we glance at our husband to communicate that we don't believe he just said or did what he just said or did, that we expect better behavior from a man like him, that is attractive to our husband. Number 4, fear. When we are afraid of something and our fear is visible in our glance toward our strong husband who protects us, that is attractive. Last night there was a huge cockroach running across the kitchen floor. And I said, "Oh, Prabhu." And he ran in and he was very valiant and brave. And he caught that cockroach and put it outside. So he was pleased by how afraid I was, how scared I was. Number 10, Queen Barhishmati was pleasing, Ruchira. A woman who always wants to please her husband emits positive vibes when she is with him and even when she is separated from him. Such a woman feels loving, positive appreciation for her husband. B, because Queen Barhishmati is described as having been pleasing to her husband, we can assume that she was not only pretty in appearance, beautiful face, beautiful body, nicely combed hair, parted in the center and arranged in a lovely braid or bun, and decorated with flowers and jewels, tasteful jewelry around her neck, arms, wrists, toes, ankles, and on her ears, but that she knew how to dress attractively in lovely, soft, supple garments, move gracefully, rise respectfully when her husband entered the room, speak softly and gently to him whenever it was appropriate for her to speak, and speak sweet words of praise and appreciation for his exploits and accomplishments and his ability to govern the citizens according to Raja Dharma. Okay, so those were all the notes I wanted to read to all of you that I had taken or I had written to share. Now let's ask ourselves, are we feminine? Do we exhibit feminine qualities like Queen Barhishmati? We can think about that, examine ourselves, be looking at ourselves every day, and notice if we're behaving in feminine ways. Okay, next paragraph. Men are different from women. Different things inspire men and women. What we're focusing on is how to inspire our men, how to act and speak in ways that uplift their spirits and increase their drive to advance spiritually, as well as perform their grihasta duties responsibly. Okay, now we're going to do 3 small exercises. But because I can't see all of you, you'll have to just do this on your own, maybe in the mirror. If you have a mirror close by, you can look in the mirror. The first exercise, first let's read this. Did you know that you hold a huge amount of power just in your face alone? Look in the mirror and smile. Okay, I'm going to look in my mirror and smile. Notice how much more attractive you look when you smile as opposed to when you scowl or frown. Do you know what a scowl is? A scowl means like this, and a frown means like this. My granddaughter is expert at that. Her mouth goes way down. So smile. It's very attractive. Second exercise, make your eyes sparkle. Women can do this. Practice making your eyes sparkle while looking in a mirror. Okay, I'm going to practice. Really, it's helpful to smile while your eyes are trying to sparkle. Okay, third exercise, practice looking shy. There is a word for this, beguiling. Beguiling means exhibiting shyness to attract another person or persons. Okay, so you can practice these things. Practice smiling in the mirror, practice sparkling your eyes, and practice looking shy, because these are all very attractive to men. Okay? Okay, let's go back to our okay. How do we get back to the main screen?
Mataji, you can stop sharing.
Okay, thank you. I got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so now, who did their homework? Raise your hands. Okay. So let's get on the Secrets of Fascinating Womanhood. I don't know where the share icon is now. The share, oh, there. Okay. There it is. Okay. Okay, can everybody see? I'm on page 33. Okay, we did page 32 last week. So today we're going to kind of read over some of the highlighted parts. Oh, we already finished page 33. Okay, so let's go down here. Okay, the same applies to a husband who will not support you financially. We talked about this last week also, that if you have a husband who does not support you financially, then this is actually required of him. He is supposed to support you. So if he is lazy or fearful or whatever is holding him up, obstinate, if he is not supporting you financially, then Helen Andelin says that you should tell him that you are not going to stay if he doesn't support you. So if he persists in being lazy, then you have to tell him to make a choice, or you will leave him, and be prepared to keep your word. Okay, now let's scroll down. Forgive him for past hurts. We must accept our husbands fully, and we must forgive them fully in our hearts for all their past mistakes. And if they keep making mistakes, just like we keep making mistakes, that's normal. That's human. I mean, we're just human. So we have to forgive them still. We have to continue forgiving. And if you require it, you need to pray to Krishna. I always have to pray to Krishna to help me in that area. And it really helps me to go back to my masculine virtues list and read about all the good things about my husband. No man, okay, now we're on page 35. No man can love a sullen, resentful wife. Some of you, maybe all of you, this is the teacher, Harmony, talking to her class. Some of you, maybe all of you, harbor resentment in your heart towards your husband because of ways he has hurt you in the past. Perhaps that resentment is crowding out your love. Let it go. Drain away the poison by forgiving him. You may need to kneel down humbly before God and ask for his help, but release the resentment. Forgive him. It's so cleansing, so liberating to do that. So again, we read this last week. Often what appears to be a man's faults are really hidden virtues. And then we went over the different types of men and how they manifest different bad qualities, and how those bad qualities may be an indicator of deep-seated in the heart good qualities, positive qualities. So we need to consider that. Okay, page 36. True love can never be forced. True love requires freedom. So we need to give our men freedom, especially religious freedom. I say that because many women in ISKCON have this experience that their husband slacks off on his devotional service and his sadhana, and they feel frustrated. The wives feel frustrated because here they are continuing to need their husband's leadership, spiritual leadership, and the husband is not leading spiritually. So this takes patience and prayer to wait until Krishna in his heart inspires him to get back to the level that he is supposed to be on. Okay, if you live all 10 laws of fascinating womanhood, your man's major faults will tend to disappear. He will become a finer and more noble man. You must allow him complete freedom to live his life as he sees fit, just so long as he supports you and is faithful to you. And again, like we mentioned last week, if it ever comes to it, where polygamy or polygyny is legalized in this country or America or the other countries where it's now illegal, and our husband or our son-in-law decides to take another wife, then we should understand that this is acceptable according to the Vedas, according to Vedic culture. And don't hold a grudge against him for this desire. And just the fact that he has another wife, or may have another wife in the future, does not mean that he is not faithful to you. If he's continuing to support you, provide for you, protect you, and educate you spiritually, then he is doing his duty to you. Okay? All right, so now we talked about this last week also. You won't become a doormat, just be patient and allow time for fascinating womanhood to work. Old habits take time to change. Okay, now everybody did their homework. This was from the week before last. Make a list of all your husband's masculine virtues, read them every morning and night. Continue this until you have committed them to memory. I just added a few more to my list today. Now it's like 135 or something. So this may happen to you too. You may continue to see wonderful qualities in your husband and run to your booklet or your computer and jot them down. That's good, do that. And even if it takes forever to go through the whole list, don't hesitate to write down more and more of his good qualities. Okay, so we've already done this. Forgive him in your heart for all the times he has hurt you in the past. Ask Krishna to help you if necessary. Then say the following to your husband. Okay, anybody who hasn't done this yet, please do this. And in the book, Harmony tells Angela that it's okay to write it as a note and hand him the note. Okay, so if you feel too shy to say these words, then you can do like Angela did. Okay. I'm assuming you've all read all these pages. Okay, so now Angela is asking herself, why is Ted not caring towards me? Why is he not courteous toward me and dependable and dignified and disciplined and forgiving and friendly? Why only to others and not to me? Then she thinks out loud, was it because I tried to change him? She thought. His terrible spelling and poor reading had always embarrassed her. She had tried to make him take night classes. She had brought him home books from the school library to try and get him to like reading, but he had never shown interest. In fact, looking back, he had seemed to resent it. See, this is an example of why we shouldn't try to change our husband and how they need freedom. They need to live their own life as they see fit, and we shouldn't try to pull on them and push them to do something we want them to do. She had also pestered him to go to church with her when they first got married. That had seemed to make him resentful also. And I've always pestered him to come home earlier, ever since he started his business. Angela was again speaking aloud. That didn't work either. No, that kind of thing doesn't work. So now she starts writing her list, and she'd only gone partway through the list when she realized that her attitude toward her husband was changing profoundly. It happened to me too. I'm sure it happened to all of you, is that when you started writing your list of your husband's wonderful qualities, you started feeling a change of heart toward him. So now Angela is praying to Krishna for her friend Amy. She's thanking Krishna for her friend Amy and for her good parents and for being guided to Fascinating Womanhood. I'm thanking Krishna for being guided to Secrets of Fascinating Womanhood, because many years ago, Helen Andelin, I was talking with her on the phone, and I told her that I love Fascinating Womanhood, and I try to live it, and I try to share it with others. And she said, "Oh, well, you should be a teacher. And in fact, I will make you a teacher. I will give you a diploma." So she sent me in the mail a little diploma that said, authorized teacher of Fascinating Womanhood. But I never used it. I never conducted a formal Fascinating Womanhood class until now. And the reason why I'm able to do it now is because of Secrets of Fascinating Womanhood, because it walks you through how to give these classes. So I felt fortified and encouraged by that. So I want to thank, I can't remember who introduced us to this book, but I'm really grateful, whoever posted it. Thank you again. So Angela is praying, "Please help me to see what I've done wrong in my marriage." This is a very good prayer. "Please help me to accept my husband as he is and his weaknesses, and help me forgive him for all the times he has hurt me. And please help him forgive me too for all the times I've hurt him." So these are very good prayers, and we can follow her example and pray like this. Okay, so that's the end of the highlighted pages. Now, for today, the homework was to read chapter 5, secret number 2, admire his masculine qualities, and do the assignment on page 53. So let's go down to page 53. Oh, wait a minute, I just wanna, oh, okay. I'm sorry, I didn't properly prepare for the class. So page 44. Now let's look at secret number 2. This secret satisfies your husband's greatest need. What is your husband's greatest need, class? So different people give different answers. And the answer given by the teacher is admiration of his masculine qualities. That is your husband's greatest need. A woman's greatest need is to be loved, but a man is different. His greatest need is to be admired. He needs to be admired and praised for his masculine abilities and achievements. Deep in his heart, he longs for it. He cannot get enough. Admiration and praise of his masculine qualities is your husband's greatest source of satisfaction. Of course, we know that's not true. Our husband's greatest source of satisfaction is pure love for Krishna. But from a material point of view, his greatest source of satisfaction is to hear admiration and praise from his wife about his masculine qualities and achievements. Okay, secret number 2, admire his masculine qualities, never wound his sensitive pride. Okay, now, admiration is the food of a man's soul. He needs it daily. He yearns for it. He craves it. Men with their highly sensitive masculine pride and strong muscular bodies are programmed, so to speak, to rule over women. And Harmony says, I myself prefer the word lead. But like I said to all of you last week, I really like this word, this phrase, rule over, because my husband is a ruler. He rules over me. So that's natural for him and probably for many of your husbands. This strong God-given pride is what drives men to want to lead and to protect and to provide for women. God has programmed it into men, so to speak. A man just cannot bear to have his fragile and sensitive pride belittled or ridiculed by his wife or any other woman. We wives can deeply hurt our husband without realizing it. Our words can cause him severe mental pain. This is why so many men erect an invisible wall around themselves, a wall of silence to protect against this pain. I had an experience once when I was in high school. I had attended a retreat with a bunch of other kids, boys and girls. And it was a spiritual retreat. And at the end of the retreat, when we were all waiting for our parents to come and pick us up or for our rides, a wrestling match broke out. Now this is America, that was America. So there in America, boys and girls do stuff like that together. They, do sports together, they do wrestling and whatnot. It's crazy and it's not acceptable, but it was the way it was. And there was one boy who was short. He was shorter than me. And he was a friend of mine. And we had a good relationship. And he was kidding around and he said, I'm gonna body slam you. And I said, you're too little to do that. And he just stopped talking to me and walked away. And I realized at that moment that he did not want to hear that he was small from a girl that respected him or that he respected. He did not want to have that pointed out to him, because when a man is short or when he's small, he has difficulty feeling pride in his physique. So we need to find ways to compliment him if our husband looks like that. If he's small or if he's short, we should compliment his strength and his other male, masculine qualities like intelligence, determination, those things. So make sure you don't make a stupid mistake like I did and tell a short guy that he's short or a small guy that he's small. Now, sometimes we deliberately hurt our husband's pride with a sharp tongue and angry tone. but more often we do it in jest. For me, in my own experience, it's often just accidental, just out of carelessness. I don't know that I'm going to hurt him, but I say something stupid or careless and it hurts him. So we need to be careful in our speech and think before we speak. So she's explaining here that sometimes we do it in jest. We hurt our husband by laughing or mocking some masculine quality about him, or we compare him unfavorably with other men. When we do that, especially in front of others, we make him feel as if he's been struck with a lash. Excuse me. He may not say a word, but we have killed his affection for us, at least for a time. If it continues over a long period, yes, Prabhuji. I don't know. Do you need me to stop? Of course, I will finish before that. But usually we go till 8:15. But I had more to read today, more to discuss. You mean my voice? Yeah. Okay. He may not say a word, but we have killed his affection for us, at least for a time. If it continues over a long period, our husband will numb his senses to minimize further hurt, sometimes with the help of alcohol or even drugs. That's really painful for devotees if that happens. And wow. Long-term acceptance and admiration will restore him to normal. In less extreme cases, a man puts up a wall of silence and reserve between himself and the woman causing the hurt. If your husband confides more easily in others than he does in you, there is a wall in place. You have hurt his sensitive pride when he has confided to you in the past. He will not want to risk being hurt again. He probably also feels resentful towards you. Okay, so now we're going to scroll. Let me just make sure I know where we are. We're in the middle of page 47. Let me make a note of that. Page 47. Okay, so now let's go to page 53. Oh, this is interesting. Common mistakes wives make that injure their husband's sensitive pride. So did you all go through these one by one? You need to be careful to make sure we're not doing any of these things. Okay? That we're refraining from reminding him of your superior education. That one was discussed in the purport about, one of the purports about Devahuti is that she did not set herself up as superior family, and she was very well educated. So she never flaunted her family upbringing in front of Kardamamuni, nor did she ever flaunt her education in front of him. Has anyone experienced the Pandora's box reaction? When you start to live fascinating womanhood, sometimes the husband gets really, really upset and starts saying mean things to the wife. And Helen Andelin describes this as Pandora's box. And she says that it actually is a good, positive thing. Because due to the fact that you're practicing fascinating womanhood, your husband is starting to trust you and feel free to speak his mind, speak his heart to you. And he may have a lot of pent-up resentment from many years. So that might come out. So be aware of that possibility. Okay, so we were supposed to praise one of our husband's masculine qualities before he went to sleep last Saturday night and watch for his smile. And assignment number 2, by asking questions that require long, thoughtful answers and giving admiration, try and have your husband talk to you about a past achievement or a future dream, or at least 5 minutes. Be openly attentive and do not interrupt him. So I had fun with that this week. I asked my husband, or I brought up the subject of when he built our house in North Carolina in the US. And he enjoys talking about that because it was a big, big project. It was the biggest piece of artwork that he ever produced. He is artistic. He's a craftsman. He's a carpenter. He works with wood. He works very well with his hands. And he's proud of having built a house all by himself. So he talked about it for at least 5 minutes, and it was, so that was my, that was how I did assignment number 2. And I would love to hear from some of you who wouldn't mind sharing on the Power of Inspiration group. How did that go for you? And then assignment 3, every second day, sincerely tell your husband how much you admire him for one of his virtues that you listed as part of last week's assignment. And I do that also. I did that this week many times and continue to do it pretty much every day. So I hope that all of you had a successful time with that as well. Okay, so now I did not make a plan for any homework for this week. Just please finish reading secret number 2, admire his masculinity. If you didn't already read it, it goes to page 58. Let me just pull this down. So that was from last week, the chapter 5. Now, chapter 6, secret number 3, make him number 1. Okay, so that will be our homework for next Saturday. And what's the date? Next Saturday is July 4th. In America, that's Independence Day. So July 4th, please have chapter 6 read and do the assignment at the end. Let's check and see what it is. I did not have time to read this yet. Okay. Okay, here we are. It's on page 76. Make a note. I'll make a note also. July 4th. Read chapter 6 and do assignments on page, what did I say, 79? 76. On page 76. So let's see what the assignments are. Assignment 1, at least twice during the week, greet your husband when he comes home with a smile and looking your feminine best. Have your home quiet and organized. Make him comfortable. Listen to him if he wants to talk. Don't speak about your day or your concerns until after he has eaten. Okay, well, you can adjust that according to your life and your schedule. Whatever your schedule is, just, try to pick up the mood of this assignment and do it before next Saturday. Assignment 2, in your own words, say to him, I'm beginning to realize the great responsibility you have to provide for me and the children. I do appreciate it. It must be a big load to carry. So when my husband was supporting us, I used to say this kind of thing often to him, and he always liked it. And he would go on and on talking about how it's a big load for him to carry. So men really like that. Assignment number 3, say to your husband, I want you to know that you're the most important person in my life and always will be. You must really mean this and never give him a reason to doubt it in the future. Okay, so for some of us, this may take a little practice. It may take some prayer and really deep prayer to make him number one. But that is one of the principles of Fascinating Womanhood, to make your husband number one in your life. Of course, Krishna and Guru are number one. Topmost, number one and number one. But then there's also the number one of our husband. Okay, so thank you everyone for attending. We went for an
Hare
hour
Krishna,
and a
Ma,
half
Dandavat
today.
Pranam.
I hope that's Hare Krishna. Thank you everyone. I'm looking over at your pictures on the side here. Beautiful faces. Haribol, Hema. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Haribol.
Hare Krishna. The busy, little bit busy in
Hare
kitchen.
Krishna, Ma.
I'm listening it while cooking.
Shraddha, can everybody see Shraddha? Like an engineer.
Dandavat Mataji.
You look like a DJ.
Really?
Hare Krishna. Okay, so let's
Hare Krishna.
go.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Pranam, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Everyone. I'm going to go over to Aurovind's group on WhatsApp. Hey, Prabhuji, we're finished.
Okay, Mataji, can we end the meeting now?
Yes, we can end the meeting now.
Okay. Thank you everyone. Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji, for such a
Dandavat
wonderful,
Pranam.
enlightening session. This is a life-saving session, actually, for us.
Thank you for your association.
Yes.
Yes.